Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my co-pilots. I've got Matt O'Leary, Green Bean, the Jets fan, and Ali from LoyalNYJetFans. What's up, boys? Matt, how you doing tonight?
Good, man. I wonder what we're going to talk about. It's a pretty slow day in the NFL today.
All right. The last 24 hours, just nothing really going on. Green Bean,
yeah.
How you doing, brother?
I'm with Matt. This is going to be a boring one. I don't even know where we're going to go. We'll figure it out, I suppose. But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to see Ali, too.
Ali, welcome back, brother. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. It's good to finally be back on, and let's just talk some football finally.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Boys and girls, if you're just dropping in the stream, make sure you hit that like button on the way in. For every 25 likes we get, we're going to have Nightbot pick a qualifier for our t-shirt giveaway at the end of this stream. So all you got to do is hang around and just make sure you are listening, because we love you and we want to give back to you. But we got a lot to get over, a lot to get into. What am I doing? I'm hitting all these different things. I'm hitting buttons and stuff. We got a lot to get into. We got to talk about, let's talk about like the pressing news real fast, all the things that happened over the course of the last day and a half or so. And then we'll get into some of the combine talk, and we'll go into some of the comment questions as well. So let's talk a little bit about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers gets a 4-year, $200 million contract from what it seems like. Basically resets the quarterback market. And then we saw a whole bunch of things shift. We see Russell Wilson get traded from the Seahawks to the Broncos, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a 5th-round pick, and then 3 players. So lots of movement all over the place. And it's going to change the entire way the draft and free agency winds up working. So, Matt, I want to pass to you first. What are your thoughts on the quarterback moves between Rodgers and Wilson?
Yeah, so not super surprised that Rodgers ended up going back to Green Bay. It felt like that was going to be the case for a little bit here. And as for Russell Wilson, like that really caught me off guard. I did not think he was going to get traded, number one. And then number two, I did not think that Denver was going to be in play for Russell anyway. So that one really caught me off guard. And you know what? I thought they could have got more. I was surprised with what the return was for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Green Bean, how did you feel about Green Bay retaining Rodgers and Seattle trading away Wilson?
Well, first thing I want to say is, yes, everybody, these are my daughter's headphones. I forgot my headphones at home, and as you know, I leave the RV, and I'm about 20 minutes from my RV, so going back for headphones. I looked around, here they were, so yeah, so that's that. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's I think that Seattle got good return for him. You know, he's probably got, 3 to 5 years left. I think it was good. They got Drew Lock to play with for a little bit, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and they also got Noah Fant and the defensive tackle. I forget his name, but I think that's fantastic return. Not to say they couldn't have gotten more, but I think this whole, like last year when we were talking about Watson, like 4 firsts, I think that's just ridiculous talk. Like 2 firsts is a lot, man. And then you throw in 2 seconds. Like that's a lot of picks. And I think Seattle finally feels good about the Jamal Adams trade. Like they finally, like they got rid of what? Russell Wilson was like, 40 million, 35 million on the cap. And they still don't have much cap money. So like with losing Russell Wilson, it actually makes Jamal's contract not the killer that it is. And I think they're really happy today. I think it's exciting. It's going to be weird seeing Russell Wilson with a Bronco on his head. That's just, it's one of those guys, you know, he's been in one place. It's going to be weird to see. Here's my prediction. They're going to suck. That's my prediction. Both teams are going to suck, and I'm going to laugh my ass off. That's what I think. I think it takes more than just a player coming over a lot of the time. New head coach, lots of moving pieces, man. And I think it's not going to be awesome. And I just love that Jamal Adams is stuck with a rebuilding team. Although I think the Seahawks will take a quarterback up top. I think that's what they're going to do with the 9th overall pick. But Aaron Rodgers, dude, he just played the Packers like a fiddle for a year. He just played them. I don't want to be here. I'm going to leave, but I'm a good soldier. The fans are on board. And then they gave him $200 million, which is what he wanted in the first place, in my opinion. And I think good move, Aaron Rodgers.
Ali, your thoughts on the quarterback moves?
Yeah, it was kind of definitely unexpected. I came back from class and I fell asleep and I woke up to all the news that were just blasting through Twitter, and I was kind of like surprised. I thought it was fake with the Wilson trade, just because I was like, no one would thought, like Matt said, that he was gonna go to Denver, and no one thought that the trade would actually happen, but it was definitely serious. And I feel like there was a Washington article that came a couple weeks ago. Seattle put that out on purpose just because they can get a better offer. And I'm gonna see. I feel like he'll work pretty well in Denver, especially with the talent that they have. Judy, you got Javante, and all those guys there. So I think he'll play really well. It's just gonna be, again, it's gonna be very weird to see Russell Wilson in a different uniform. And I don't know what's happening in Seattle anymore. We just don't know. They're probably gonna have to work with draft picks that they don't have. Maybe they want to trade DK to us, or like if they want more draft picks to help us out. But it's definitely going to be very weird to see that. And then with Aaron Rodgers, he's Aaron Rodgers. That's why he got paid. You know what he can do on the field. He puts up great numbers every single game, and that's why he got paid. That's why he threw a fit, because he's able to throw a fit because he's Aaron Rodgers. So that didn't really surprise me.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers getting the amount of money he got, he's kind of a hypocrite. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the video clip. I think it was Greg Jennings that was talking about how Aaron Rodgers went up to him at one point after Jennings got his money, and Rodgers said something along the lines of, "Oh, Jennings had just signed his contract, and he went up to him and he's like, hey, just make sure you're not one of those guys that tries to renegotiate partway through. You signed your contract, live up to it." And Rodgers fucking does the same thing. Screw him. I'm sorry. I'm not a big Rodgers fan. I think he's phenomenal. I think he has an argument for like one of the best quarterbacks of all time. But yeah, I don't know. It's not that surprising, I guess. I thought his best shot of winning was going to be with Green Bay. As far as Seattle, I think the Seahawks did not get enough in return. I was a little surprised by it. Now, I guess if the wheels come off in Denver and, I don't know, maybe things go the wrong way. But I think Denver's setting themselves up for another run like they did with Peyton. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Von Miller goes from the Rams back to the Broncos and they just ship over. Yeah, they used the second round pick that they got. They got a second and a third for Von Miller when they traded him to the Rams. They used that second to go trade for Russell Wilson, and then they're going to get Von Miller back the next year. Like, I like it. I think it's a good move for them. Seattle, I don't know what they're going to do. It doesn't feel like they're going to go out and try to get, like, I saw people saying, like, oh, they should go out and get Watson. They should go out and get this quarterback, get that quarterback.
Yeah, I
like,
saw that.
Nah, they're either going to tank and bottom out for this season, which I think is more likely. I don't think they're looking to take a quarterback at 9. But I don't know. I wouldn't have pictured Pete Carroll hanging around for a new rebuild of a team. Like, are they going to pull the plug? Are they trading DK? Are they, like, getting rid of, all the other guys? The friggin' Bobby Wagner might get cut. You got friggin' who else is over there? There's, like, 3 guys that are, like, right on the bubble right now, cap-wise. Whatever. I don't think Seattle got enough for Russell. But
what do you think they're supposed to get, though? What are they supposed to get?
Are you telling me we traded Jamal Adams, or we could have traded Jamal Adams and 2 seconds for Russell? Almost.
No, that's because they're stupid. That was a bad deal. That was a bad deal.
It was a bad deal.
What's the biggest deal in NFL history? What are the biggest deals outside of Herschel Walker? Right. And then you have the Mike Ditka trade. Who the hell has ever gotten 3 firsts? No one. No one's ever traded 3 firsts. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I think everybody's nuts.
If Watson hadn't gotten in the trouble he got into, I think he would have gotten 3 firsts in a heartbeat. I think it would have been more than 3 firsts. I think it would have been 3 firsts and probably multiple seconds.
Nope. 2 firsts, 2 seconds.
It would have been the Jets' number 2 pick, which would have been, but it would have been 3 firsts. It would have been 2, 1 this year and 1 next year if we had gone for him, I think.
Maybe. We can say maybe. Maybes and babies.
That's true. That's true.
What's the old saying? If my aunt had a pecker, she'd be my uncle, right? Something like that.
Oh yeah.
I guess that is accurate.
Something like that. But like, think about it. I mean, that is a lot. Not only did they give them 2 firsts and 2 seconds, but they gave them a second-round quarterback. They gave them a first. Was Noah Fant was a first-round tight end. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot, man. That's a lot of shit. That's a lot. Noah Fant's good.
I was surprised they didn't get Judy, to be honest. I thought that was going to be a throw-in in any trade for a quarterback. But I guess it makes sense.
That's a good point, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure what Seattle's feeling right now because, you got 2 firsts, but you only got 1 first this year. It's not like you got the double of, the quick rebuild or anything like that. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Apparently, Washington offered 3 firsts for Wilson, and they didn't want to trade him within the conference.
NFC?
Yeah.
I don't know. Where'd we hear that? I don't know. I think
I'd have to look it
they
up.
would take 3 firsts, man. 2 seconds could be argued is better than 3 firsts. Still 2 premium players opposed to 1.
Sure.
You can argue that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a way to look at that. The other big news we heard yesterday, Calvin Ridley done for at least the 2022 season. At least. Crazy for gambling on football, specifically gambling on the Falcons. Now, apparently he was gambling on them to win, so maybe there's not, as bad of an egregious kind of thing, but even still, you got to be smarter than that. I don't know. It's disappointing. It definitely narrows the wide receiver market even more than we had initially thought it was going to, and seeing all the franchise tags with all the players that got tagged definitely doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies going into free agency and going leading into the draft, having hopefully solved some more problems. Matt, what were your thoughts on Calvin Ridley?
Obviously, it's stupid. You don't see NFL players. You're able to bet on other sports if you want. You just can't bet on the NFL, which is just it's silly. Just don't bet on football. I don't know what's hard about that. But to play devil's advocate for a second, do you think it's a little hypocritical for the league that, for all these domestic violence issues, they hand out 2 and 4 suspensions, then a guy bets a game that's not even playing it and he's banned for a year? It's just, if we're setting the standard here, it seems like the NFL cares more so about their money and their players not being shitty human beings, which I guess I should be surprised, but it was still a little bit surprising yesterday to hear that.
Yeah, I would say it's not surprising because the Shield is always about protecting the Shield, and it's always about doing what's good for the bottom line, right? So having, this gambling issue, if they lose the sponsorships from gambling, they lose billions. Not to mention people claiming that the league is rigged. I mean, just think about what's going to happen to John Ross. He might be forced to sell his team because of the potential rigging of games, and that's what they're concerned about with Ridley. But I agree, it's definitely two-faced. They should absolutely. If you're going to have this strong of a stance against $1,500 worth of gambling, you should have this strong of a stance when a guy cold cocks his girlfriend in an elevator. I'm sorry. I don't like the way the NFL has handled a lot of their suspensions and things like that. Hopefully they could just do better going forward. Green Bean, what are your thoughts on
Let me present a different side of the argument, and I want to make clear I am not in favor of violence in any capacity, especially male to female, as sexist as that is these days. I don't think men should hit women. But here's the thing. Only one of those crimes can be punished by the law. So the NFL's suspension on top of a violent act, a domestic or whatever it might be, that's also being dealt with in the court of law. There's going to be penalties, jail time, whatever potential is there. So the NFL just puts on top of that their penalty. The one with the gambling, it's not against the law. Calvin Ridley's not going to suffer anything anywhere except in the NFL. Now, it's I heard a lot about the NFL is pushing all these sports books and all that stuff, so aren't they hypocritical? It's in the collective bargaining agreement that, this is, yes, we want gambling. We have beer sponsors, all the stuff we have. You're still not allowed to do X, Y, and Z if you want to get paid this money and be a part of the league. So while I think it's dumb and all that, the truth is that the NFL should absolutely come down hard on him to set a precedent, because again, this is the only place that he can suffer a repercussion is with the NFL. It's the only place. So they're going to be serious because like Ryan just said, if it starts getting out there that the league is rigged because players are betting on their teams and then drop, and the first time somebody who's accused of betting drops a pass, it's like, it's going to be bedlam and they don't want it. So I think, maybe a little severe, but I do understand why it's different. There's a lot more variables than the NFL isn't the only thing punishing these players who beat the hell out of somebody or get in a car accident or whatever it might be.
Ali, what are your thoughts on Calvin Ridley?
Yeah, I'll go a different route of this, of just saying how much I wanted Calvin Ridley. I mean, last stream that I had with you guys, I literally was wanting Calvin Ridley.
Yep.
I didn't want
I
Allen
remember.
Robinson. I didn't want Amari Cooper. I didn't want anyone. I wanted Calvin Ridley, because I feel like he was ready to play football, and I think he was. Just this stuff came in the way, and I think he was mentally ready to play football. And he's just a playmaker. He would come in and be the number one receiver, and especially with the combine news coming out saying that, oh, Joe Douglas is going to make a splash. He's going to make a bold trade, stuff like that. Rich Cimini even said that like today, saying that, they think that Joe Douglas is going to make a big move in free agency through a trade or whatever. And then you just see it just go down the drain in one day, like Dalton Schultz going out of the drain, Ridley going, and we're just like, what are we doing now? What are the Jets' plans now on who they're going to attack and who are they going to try to get? But with Calvin Ridley, I really did want him. I think he would be a great receiver for us. But obviously that went down the drain. I didn't really like the suspension for the year, but the league does what it wants. So that's all you can really say about that.
Now, I have no idea what the Jets are going to wind up doing in free agency. There was a ton of guys franchise tagged. Ton of guys. I'll pull up the list right now. We lost. So not that. Let me go through all the guys that were franchise tagged, and then we'll talk about basically how we feel about, the position groups or whatever. So Cam Robinson of the Jaguars, their tackle gets franchise tag. Dalton Schultz gets the franchise tag from the Cowboys. Orlando Brown from the Chiefs. Jesse Bates from the Bengals. David Njoku from the Browns. Gesicki from the Dolphins, Godwin from the Bucks, and Devontae Adams of the Packers. I would say of the wide receivers I'm most disappointed about is Godwin. I had an outside hope that maybe we'd have an opportunity to snag him and just kind of let him rest for a bit. He's still young enough, and I think he fits this system like a glove. Devontae Adams, we never really had a shot at. Gesicki, I'm actually kind of happy they franchise tagged him because I think it takes them out of the conversation for taking Schultz at the end of round, or not Schultz, taking Trey McBride at the end of the first round. David Njoku was a guy I thought the Jets were really going to target, and from my understanding, he was their number 2 tight end in free agency that they were going to try and target. So that's disappointing. Jesse Bates, I didn't think was going to hit free agency because of all the cap space the Bengals have. Orlando Brown wasn't on it for us. Dalton Schultz, obviously, that's the big one I think that a lot of people are upset with because everyone had their heart set on him as tight end for the Jets next year. And then Cam Robinson is a really kind of makes me nervous one because that's one where now I'm not sure where the Jaguars go at the top of the draft. Are they going with a tackle still, or are they going Hutchinson or Hamilton or some other type of situation? Matt, I'm going to pass the question off to you. How do you feel about the guys who are franchise tagged, and who were you most disappointed about? Or give me some commentary on what you're thinking.
Yeah, obviously Schultz getting tagged is disappointing. That's something that I really wanted Jets to be able to go and get. Cam Robinson's an interesting one on this list too because he's a left tackle for the Jaguars. So does that take them out of Evan Neal or 𝐒𝐿? Like, who knows? Supposedly odds for the number 1 pick for Aiden Hutchinson skyrocketed. So if Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeaux go 1 and 2, that's obviously going to impact what the Jets do at 4. So I don't know. It's going to be a crazy few weeks here, and those are the big ones stuck out to me today.
Green Bean, what about you? How are you feeling about this franchise tagged free agent class?
Dude, all the tight ends are gone. All of them. All the ones. We got some older fellas around, and any of them that I was even mildly interested in, I think most of them are gone. I think Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's definitely interesting. Like we saw Godwin, we have Devontae Adams. So a lot of the bigger names that we were kind of playing around with are gone. I'm surprised that all the tight ends, like we saw Njoku, and they're going to keep in Cleveland. What's his name again?
Njoku.
What's the other? No, the other guy. They franchised Njoku.
Oh, yeah.
I just can't remember his name, but they said they're going to keep their other tight end too. So and then we got Gesicki, and obviously all these tight ends, like these were the guys that we were looking at. So it's kind of a bummer. Now we might need to double dip in the draft, which I'm fine with anyway. I think is Ertz going to be a free agent this year? I just forget if he's a free agent, if he signed a 1 year.
He is.
Yep.
Okay, so that could be an interesting one to bring in as a vet. But yeah, I think it's a big bummer, dude. I think it ruined our plans. We were having some fun dreaming about Schultz.
Ali, how you feeling about the franchised free agent class?
Yeah, I think like you guys all said, it's Dalton Schultz that sticks out to everyone. But it's more about how the Jets are going to approach that position now, because we know heading into this season, we had to improve the tight end position. And I really do like the Zach Ertz and maybe draft a tight end, because you definitely have to draft a tight end no matter what in this draft. There's just so much, talent in this. You saw on the combine and you saw the Senior Bowl. You just see them, and even if you watch just tape of them, these tight ends are pretty good and they don't drop the ball very often. And if you get Zach Ertz in there, because the Jets need a full locker room change at the tight end position. That tight end room sucks. So you need to get guys in there that know how to play ball and know how to help your quarterback. And that's pretty much what it is, right? Helping Zach Wilson improve from year 1 to year 2 and for years to come. So I think Zach Ertz coming in as a veteran presence would be helpful for him. And then drafting maybe McBride or Ferguson or someone like that would help him a lot. And I think that's kind of what the route they're probably looking at. And I think that's what the route a lot of fans were looking at, because I feel like we kind of knew Dalton Schultz was going to get tagged. I think all of us kind of knew that. But we were just praying that he didn't. And then they for some reason changed their mind on Amari Cooper and just franchise tagged him instead of Dalton Schultz. But obviously Schultz is a top, in my eyes, top 5 tight end in the league. And he can put numbers up there. So obviously it's sad not having him, but having Ertz and maybe drafting maybe even 2 tight ends in the draft would go a long way for this team.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Guys, if you're just tuning in, make sure you hit that like button on the way in. For every 25 likes we get, we're going to pick a qualifier for our t-shirt giveaway. Sorry. Right now, because we're going back to yesterday's stream. If you tuned in for the Monday stream, you were qualified for today's giveaway. I got Jets Forever, D. Vieira, Kevin Chatta, Jay Perez, 𝐒'I'N'I𝐫𝐲, Jake, Robert Killian, Mark Orlando, Don't Judge the Drip, Zachary Burner, Matt Curtis, Harlan Abram, and Rusty Spooner. You guys are all qualified for our t-shirt giveaway. We're going to do that at the end of this stream. If you guys haven't joined the mock first round competition, I'm giving away a jersey for whoever winds up winning it. It's just first round mock, real easy. It's free to enter. It's down in the description down below. Definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. All right, let's get into a few super chats that popped up. We got one from, let's see, Richard Delgado. Let me just resize this, get this down a little bit. Bam. All right. Thanks, Dick. He says, the Jets should trade 3 first-round picks for Bo Callahan, the guy from Draft Day. Sorry. No, not happening. David Gerard drops in with the super chat, says, can't wait to play the Seahawks at their place. Are we playing the Seahawks this year? Is that one of our games?
I don't think so.
I didn't think it was.
I don't think we play them.
Well, either way, I can't wait to. I love that Jamal just got his contract and he's kind of stuck on a team that's like, not really going anywhere. It just makes me so happy. I might smoke a cigar on Instagram and dance around like a buffoon. Yeah, I can't wait to play the Seahawks either, so I'm looking forward to it. Mark Riss drops in with he's got a celebration of 8 months of the membership tier. So he gets his own little super chat. He says, Brett Favre to Rodgers, 30 years and only 2 chips. Pathetic. Yeah, when you have 2 all-time great quarterbacks and you only have 2 rings to show for it, it's disappointing. I think Aaron Rodgers has definitely underwhelmed. He's got 4 MVPs, so he's a good quarterback, but he just seems to choke it away in the postseason, every year. Matt, your thoughts on Favre to Rodgers for 30 years of dominance, but only 2 rings?
Wish the Jets had that quarterback play. It must be nice, but unfortunately, very much so underachieved over that time.
Green Bean, any thoughts on Favre and Rodgers with 30 years of good quarterback play?
If that was the Jets, all we would hear is how much we suck. It would be a laughing stock. Like if we had 2 quarterbacks like that, and it's more fun to win, right? So we don't have shit to say. But if that was us, Jets fans we would have been talking about cutting Favre, getting rid of Rodgers. He sucks. He can't win the big game. So, it's disappointing, man. But again, dude, they've been to how many championship games? We still talk about we've been to 4 AFC championship games since 1982, and we hold them up like they're badges of honor, right? So they've been to they've been 4 in the last 3 years or something like that. So it's more fun to win. They have a lot more fun than we have, so I think they'll take it.
Ali, any thoughts on the 30 years and only 2 chips?
Yeah, we only have 1 in the past 50 years, so I don't know if I should really be talking right now. But just seeing the greatness of Rodgers and how much numbers they put on every single year, and just only having 2 championships to show for it is kind of, because you look at Tom Brady, you look at these other guys, and they're just they're winning games, they're winning the big games and everything like that. But Brett Favre, Rodgers, literally only 2 chips. It's not the worst thing, but it's not the greatest for someone that people consider as one of the greatest of this lifetime, of this generation. A lot of people think Rodgers is better than Brady, but how? If he can't show that he can win with any team or wherever he has. So yeah, it's just very disappointing. And again, like what Green Bean said, if it was the Jets, we would never hear the end of it. So
right.
Edward Ziff drops in with a super chat. Thanks, Edward. He says, I really think we should try to get Robby Anderson. He's fast, experienced, and reasonably priced. I asked Ryan this earlier, and he just said no. Why? Yeah, I don't want Robby Anderson back. I'm sorry. We played that experiment. I'd rather go for some young blood. And I think he's at $12 million a year. So I'm not really looking to trade for someone at $12 million a year. That's, I don't want to say a one-trick pony, but, limited in maybe his route tree and whatnot. So I would say no to Robby Anderson. Matt, yes or no for Robby Anderson?
No. Sorry.
Green Bean, talk to me. Yes or no for Robby Anderson?
I wouldn't want to. I think it's silliness. I think the whole thing was silly. They said Robby Anderson said he wants to play here. He literally just signed a 2-year extension down there this year. So I don't even know what it is. But no, I think Robby Anderson, if we wanted to keep him, that's one thing. To go out there and trade for him a la Lavernius Coles, I think that's silliness.
Ali, your thoughts?
Well, look, I spent a lot of time with Robby Anderson. I did a couple of events with him. He's a cool dude. He's a funny guy. Doesn't talk much, though, but when he does, it's really funny. And I loved the time that he was with us. He was fun to watch. I think he still has a lot in his tank. But going back to your question of coming back to the Jets, yeah, hell no.
Why? Right?
Definitely agree. All right. Who's up next? Pooch Guy. Pooch Guy drops in the super chat, says, Harold Landry, possible target for edge. I'm all on board trying to go after Harold Landry. And I don't know, how that would impact our draft because you don't know what Lawson's going to be. You have him on a 3-year contract. I believe you can get out of it after this year. So I don't know if it necessarily changes your draft strategy, but I like him. He's only 25 years old. Spot Track had him at, I think, $17 million a year. If that's the contract you're going to get for him, I would 100% go for it because I think that in a very small talent pool in free agency, I think he's probably going to go for more than that. but we'll see. I like the player for sure. Matt, your thoughts on Harold Landry?
I like him. He's a good young player, and I think if he can make the transition from outside linebacker to 4-3 edge rusher, I'd be in.
I think he can. I mean, he played with his hand in the dirt a bunch this past year, and he did pretty well. He definitely stood up as well, and he's, 250 or 255 pounds, so he is maybe a touch lighter than you may want your edge to be, but I don't think it's, unreasonable for him to do well at his weight and whatnot. But Green Bean, any thoughts on Landry?
Yeah, he was a second-round pick. So I want to remind everybody that it's not only about the first round, everybody. We don't have to freak out and get everybody in the first. Second, we have 2 second-round picks. Harold Landry was a second-round pick in the Sam Darnold year, if I remember correctly. So we could have grabbed him if we didn't trade 3 second-round picks to move up. So I just want to remind everybody of that. You could be
Ali, your thoughts on Landry?
Yeah, I was looking at his stat total for like sacks. He started off with 4.59, 5.5 in this past year. He had 12 sacks. So that's pretty much better than any guy we have on our team right now. And he's a guy that I feel like the Titans are probably going to try to sign back, like heavy try, because I think he was a very big part of that Titans defense. But if the Jets can somehow get there, we have the money, we have the load to get him. So if Douglas likes him, and I heard like very few things about him. He's a good locker room guy too. So if he can bring in, just a little bit of experience to this young squad that they're trying to develop and the Jets defense, I think he would fit really well.
The Pooch Guy drops in with another super chat. Says, give me DK for the 10th and hook it into my veins. So I heard this a lot. I went live as soon as Russell Wilson was traded, and I would say maybe 75% of the chat was bringing up DK Metcalf and how the Jets have to go out and get him and, go out and do this right now. And I just don't see it happening. I don't see, the Jets being able to get DK for the 10th pick based on, everything that went down with Seattle and us. I feel like he's destined to go to another team if he is traded, but I think there's a shot he winds up staying with Seattle still. Matt, what are your thoughts on DK?
I would take him for pick 35. I don't want to give up a top 10 pick for DK Metcalf.
Green Bean, what about you?
I'm in agreement with Matt. I think that's too much. It's just too much. I mean, he's got 1 year left on his contract too. So you're trading away a first-round pick for a guy who's going to want to get paid mightily, and you're more than likely going to end up losing him. So I mean, I'm not even a big fan of trading a second, but that would be my top for DK Metcalf with the situation surrounding him. Love him, but that's where I stand on it.
Ali, how you feeling about DK?
Yeah, so after watching the combine and seeing how much talent at wideout is in this draft, especially you can grab one in the first and second round, and that's how much you would have to give to get DK. I'd rather just take a shot on a guy who's a rookie and doesn't have asking for a big contract and see how he goes, because there's a lot of talent in the wide receiver market in the draft. So it just doesn't make sense for the Jets to go out and trade so much for DK. And I don't think they're going to want to trade with us anyways, so.
Yeah, I'm 100% in agreement with you guys. 35 would be a conversation, but like Ali said, there's a lot of talent in this year's draft. Jim I drops in the super chat, says, here's a pint of fuel for Green Bean. For those of you that don't know, Green Bean's traveling around the country. I was on Green Bean Street last night, and we were talking about it, and we started getting gas donations throughout the night. So we were talking about the gas prices.
Right. I had to change my plans. I was heading to California after here to Palm Springs to go ride all the coasters. It's $7.50 a gallon for diesel in California. I literally had to change my plans. I watched it go from $3.89 to $4.89 in 4 days. What is that? So everybody started sending me gas money. It was funny.
How many miles do you get to the gallon with your rig?
When I'm pulling my rig, I get 10.
We're going to need to make sure you're going downhill. We're not going to be able to get Green Bean back from the Rockies. He's not going to be able to make it over the mountains.
No, man. I just have to make it to Yellowstone because I'm working up there. Once I get to Yellowstone, but I can't right now because the snow's too deep. So I gotta wait. But once I get to Yellowstone, I'll make some money and then I'll get out of here. Then I'm going to Santa school, as you guys know. I'm going to be a Santa Claus in Michigan. I'm going to the top-rated Santa school in the country. But if I could just make it to Yellowstone and Santa school, we'll be okay. I need help. Everybody send me gas money so I can get to Yellowstone.
I love it. I love it. Richard Delgado, a.k.a. Dick, drops in with another super chat, says, now that Schultz and Njoku are gone, I think the best tight end on the market is Henry Ruggs. Solid. Solid. Probably not where we're going to go with that. 𝐿'𝐿𝐼𝐶 drops in with a super chat. Alex says, if not Kayvon Thibodeau, Sauce at 4, and Walker at 10 is best in my opinion. Yes, I would prefer Walker. I would say if I had to rank my edges, I don't want to touch Kayvon. I'm like deathly afraid of this guy, like just pulling a Jamal Adams and just blowing up the locker room, and I like don't want to see that happen. So I would say I would want Hutchinson, then Walker, then it's probably a toss-up between Karlaftis and Johnson. I'd probably put Karlaftis a little bit higher, but I like the depth of the edge rushers. I have no problem, going Sauce at 4 and then going with an edge rusher at 10. But if we wind up seeing Hutch go at 1, KT go at 2, I don't know if there's a now that the Ridley situation happened at number 8 and the Packers are now at number 9, I don't know if we have to worry about Sauce getting picked before our number 10 pick unless someone trades in front of us. So I'm a little more at ease with going edge at 4, I guess, but it'll be interesting. Matt, what are your thoughts if no Thibodeau at 4, going Sauce and Walker at 10?
I completely walked away differently from the combine on Kayvon Thibodeau than you did. I actually liked his press conference a whole lot. Well spoken, and to me, it just seems like someone who's wants to improve and wants to get better. I like Sauce Gardner a ton. He's been my number 1 corner for a while now. Walker, I don't get the rise. To me, he's more like, I don't know, maybe like my 5th edge, but I still like Karlaftis and Johnson more than him.
Green Bean, your thoughts on Sauce at 4, Walker at 10?
Yeah, I think everybody's just high from the combine. This happens every year. There are players that we all fall in love with, and they're all the buzz after the combine. It's natural. It's normal. Don't feel bad if you're involved. But I think Sauce Gardner at 4 would be a mistake, in my opinion. I like him. I'm not saying anything. If we grab him, fine. But that's not the way I think the Jets are going to go. It's not the way I would go. I think that's an overdraft of a guy who had he played in college. He was that shutdown guy. They never picked on him. They all picked on Kobe Bryant. When he comes to the NFL, it's not going to be that experience. He's going to have a rough first year, in my opinion. They're going to beat the living shit out of him, and he's going to have a completely different experience. Not to say he won't come out on top of it, but he's going to take a while, in my opinion, as talented as he is. And that's not a top 5 pick, in my opinion.
Ali, your thoughts? Sauce at 4, Walker at 10.
I'm kind of with Green Bean with Sauce. I do feel like he was on not a lot of people's radars before the combine. No one even knew about him, and people started knowing him when the Jets social media account posted a mock draft of them drafting him at 4. And I think that's when people started to know him, right before the combine. And no one really knew him. Yeah, he could be a really good fit, but and I would definitely question it if the Jets drafted him at 4. But I would still be like thinking positively because I do think he would fit well. But he is a project. I feel like he is some guy that's not going to go in and make plays right away. I just don't feel that. I think he just had a great combine. And a lot of guys have really good combines and they suck in the NFL. And they get and he's coming to a big city in New York. And if he sucks, he's going to go down the drain. Especially if you're picked at number 4. So for Sauce, it's going to be very interesting how the Jets handle it because they need to do extensive work on him if they really want Sauce and they actually believe he could be a star for the team.
I love Sauce Gardner. I have no problem. If they want to make the pick at 4 and they think he's not going to be there by 10, no problem whatsoever. I think he fills a premium position that you would have paid $20 million a year for in free agency, and the dude didn't allow an interception or didn't allow a touchdown through his entire college career. He allowed 131 yards the entirety of his last season and only gave up 14 yards against Alabama.
Yeah, they didn't throw it at him. Look, there's a positive and there's a positive and a negative to that, though. I agree, man. But it's like he never got tested because he was considered the guy not to throw at because they picked on Kobe Bryant. But dude, I'm telling you, in the NFL, that's not happening. He's not coming in and as a rookie, shutting down all the wide receivers that, like, think about it, man. He's going to come in and play the best in the world. You think they're not going to pick on him? It's going to be an entirely different scenario. And I don't know, man. I think he's an illusion. I'm not saying he's not talented. I'm not saying I don't like him. I agree. He's my cornerback 1-2, although I do like Andrew Booth and Elam. And there's a few guys that I really like. But going from a situation where he never gave up touchdowns, but they didn't throw at him. Now that's a good thing from one side of it. The other side, because they picked on Kobe Bryant, dude. That's what happened. So I don't know, man. It's just, again, he's going to come into the NFL and he's not going to have that cushion of not even getting thrown at. And again, I understand.
Then they can throw the other way. Because, that's what we did with Revis, right? You got Revis and you get Cromartie. Yeah, Revis had a rough first year.
Yes, he took him fucking 3 or 4 years. Dude, we're ready to cut Becton and Mims and everybody in year 2. So I'm just saying, guys, if you're using the top 4 pick on somebody, they got to be a top 5 pick. And I think Sauce Gardner, as much as I like him, I don't want it to sound like it. I think he's going to have a rough first couple years, at least 1 year, let's say. He's going to have a rough first 1 or 2 years. And it's going to be a whole different thing than people think. He's not generational. It's none of that stuff people are saying. All of a sudden, 2 weeks ago, we didn't hear anything about this guy. And now it's, it's like, I'm just concerned. Top 5 picks, I don't see Sauce Gardner as a top 5 pick. That's just me.
See, I think the whole, God, you're going to get me fired up. When you make a pick at 4, you're making a statement to the rest of your organization because you have every player in the draft to choose from, and you are saying, this is the type of player we want to model our organization after, and I think Sauce fits that to a T. Exactly what you would want. Now, I would say my tune changes a little bit because if you're giving me the option of Thibodeau at 4 or Sauce at 4, I'm going to take Sauce at 4. But because of how Walker performed and because of the trades that have happened and the things that have gone down with Ridley, I think you probably have a better chance of getting Sauce at 10 now than you did just 2 days ago. And I would say, I would prefer to go Walker at 4 or whatever your edge, top edge is at 4, then go Sauce at 10 or trade down if he's not there. I would be fine with that. Ali, your thoughts? Sauce at 4, Walker 10.
Yeah, I said it earlier, and people kind of roasting me on the chat right now. But the thing with Sauce, I'm not hitting on a guy like Green Bay. I'm not hitting on him, but is he worth that 4th overall pick? In my eyes, I just don't see it. If he drops to 10, sure, I'll take him. But is he going to actually drop to 10? I doubt it. Especially after the good combine and all that stuff. And again, he's just more of will he be living up to the hype? It's always concerning if you're not 100% with a guy and drafting him number 4 overall. Number 4. You literally sucked all of last year and had the 4th pick, and you're going to put that 1 pick on that guy. So you're literally drafting after a horrible season, you're drafting this guy. You need to be certain that he will be a guy that will help you for years to come. And I can't say that. I can't be confident and say that and be like, Sauce will be the guy. That's just my thing. I think he's talented. I think he's good in the combine. He was really great. He made plays in college as well. But I can't I can't confidently say right now that he will be great for us. I just can't.
You guys get me all fired up. Guys, make sure you hit that like button on your way in. We're going to give away a t-shirt at the end of the stream, and every 25 likes we get, we're going to pick a qualifier from our live stream chat. So make sure you hit that like button for us. NY Jets Forever. Where'd it go? Bam. NY Jets Forever. Thank you for the super chat. Says, you think we could trade for Brandon Cooks or Robert Woods on a 1-year deal? Cooks, from my understanding, is not pleased and doesn't want to be traded. He wants to be released, which makes sense. Then he can go anywhere he wants. So unfortunately, he doesn't really have much of a say. I don't know if I'd want Cooks. I do like Woods a lot. Did Woods get hurt in the playoffs? Did he tear an ACL? Is that what wound up happening? Or was it?
Yeah, he
I
tore
don't
his
remember what it
ACL.
was.
I think like before the playoffs. I think everyone got hurt before
they brought in
the playoffs.
Odell.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then Odell tore his ACL. So I don't know. Of these two, I guess you'd probably stay away from the ACL and you go with Cooks. But I think there's other routes I'd probably go before doing that. Matt, what do you think about Cooks or Woods?
Of the two, Cooks, well, I would have for a little bit of a more splash than one of those two, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Green Bean, what about you? Woods or Cooks?
I don't which Woods? Jelani Woods?
No.
are you
Robert
talking
Woods or Brandon Cooks. Sorry.
I don't know. I'm dealing with your webcams. Go to Ali for a second. I was clearing
Ali.
this guy out of here. You gotta.
Ali, what's going on? How are you feeling about Robert Woods or Brandon Cooks?
Yeah, especially when it comes to injuries with wideouts, it kind of scares me. Especially with Robert Woods coming off an injury, is he going to be that Robert Woods that we always liked in a Rams uniform? I love Robert Woods. When he was with Cooper Kupp on the other side, he was literally balling out. But we didn't see a full almost. I don't know what week he got injured, but I feel like I didn't see many flashes from him last year. He probably went down really early in the season. But Brandon Cooks, I feel like is always making plays. I feel like he's always, no matter what bad team he's on, you always see Brandon Cooks making some type of play. He has speed, he has good hands, and he's good after the catch. So definitely Cooks out of those two.
Matt, I'm just realizing this. Do we lose you at 9:00, or are you here for the stream?
No, there's no game today, so I'm working my 3 jobs today, only 2.
I love it. See, I looked over at the chat and they're like, "Oh wow, Matt's still here." I was like, "Oh, I forgot he does that."
Yeah.
That's all right. I like it. Disregard Papa. Actually, hold on. Green Bean, did you want to give any thoughts on Woods or Cooks before I move on?
Yeah, Brandon Cooks should have been a Jet from the beginning. That was the pick in 2014, I think it was, when we took
Louisville
Calvin
Slugger.
Pryor. I thought 100%, and I got excited before the pick. We're getting Brandon Cooks, and no. But I'm with Ali, man. The guy's a playmaker. He's getting, he's getting older, but I like Brandon Cooks. I like Woods too.
Disregard Papa. Comes in with.
I just want to say something to everybody in the chat that's saying that all of a sudden Sauce Gardner is the best player in the draft. 2 weeks ago, it was Icky is the best player in the draft. You know what I mean? Like, guy, we just got to calm down. And I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm saying I wouldn't take him at 4. That's it. 2 weeks ago, 99% of you would have said the same thing. He runs fast and did a couple drills, and everybody's losing their minds. Just calm down. Let's take an even keel approach and really look at stuff. At the end of the season, he was cornerback 3. Okay, so let's just remember that. Just remember, everybody calm down out there. That's what I want to say to everybody.
I love it.
Disregard
I love
Papa comes in with a super chat saying, "Do you think Kayvon Thibodeau will drop to 10 due to personality?" No, I don't think that. I think there's going to be a team that, definitely likes him. The talent's there, right? Like, there's no reason he can't be a top 5 pick. But I think the personality for me, based on the culture we're trying to grow, I don't know if our locker room and team is established enough to bring him in and not have it potentially impact some of the younger players on our team. So I would pass on Thibodeau. If he fell to 10, I would take him there maybe, but I would think he'll go before then. I think he goes to the Giants at 7. That would be my guess. But now with, Hutchinson possibly going 1, maybe that changes things and Thibodeau goes 2. Ali, I'll throw it to you for this one. Where do you think KT goes?
Yeah, I'd probably say, if anything, to the Giants if he falls like deeply. And for the Jets wise of why the Jets shouldn't, what we've noticed for the last couple of drafts that we have seen of Joe Douglas is that he loves leadership. He loves the guys who are leaders of a football team. That's a personality he always looked. I feel like the first draft, literally they were all captains of their respected colleges. And I think that just kind of puts it out of the picture of like what they're trying to build there, especially with Robert Salah as well. He's also down with the leadership and all. They want 100 leaders if they can get that on this football team. So I don't think that just goes down the narrative. He is obviously a great football player, and if he does fall to the Jets at 10, I would 100% take him. But for the Jets perspective, I don't think it just makes sense because we don't need it. I don't think we're going to be like winning like in the playoffs and for a Super Bowl right now. And he's not that Super Bowl. He could be that guy, but we don't need that type of player right now. We need players that can develop with us and the young squad that we have. So I think for the longer wave of like what the Jets are trying to build, he just wouldn't fit correctly.
Jets World celebrates 12 months of membership to the channel, so thank you so much. So he gets a free super chat. Says, we need to trade for Cooper before he's released. Yes, I 100% agree. I would trade for Cooper. I'd offer a 5th round pick. And if they don't take it, then someone else offers it. Maybe you consider a 4th, and then that's probably as high as I'd go. I don't know if I want to give up a 3rd for that kind of contract, but I do think that we would not attract Cooper in free agency. And I think the benefit of having him on what would essentially be 3 franchise tags that you can cut after any season is absolutely huge. I don't care if I have him for 1 year at $20 million, giving up a 5th round pick while we let Christian Watson develop, and then we get to decide between Cooper for another year or if we want to hold on to Corey Davis. You get a few different options here. So I very much would like to trade for Cooper. Matt, I know you've brought up Cooper before. What are your thoughts at this point in the offseason now?
Yeah, if he hits the market, I'd be going for it and trying to sign him. Or if you want to say like, hey, Dallas, here's a 5th rounder, don't cut him, we'll take on the contract, I'm good with 2, because the Jets have an opportunity here with all this draft capital that they have. So I'd be for it.
Jack Filipowski drops in with super chat. Says, Pringle from Kansas City would be a great Cole replacement. Green Bean, how you feeling about Pringle from Kansas City? Do you know much about him? It seems like Matt's pretty interested. I could toss to him if you want.
Yeah, I was really excited about trying to figure out how Pringles was somehow going to get us out of the coal market. So I don't. Yeah, I know. I'm not. Go ahead to Matt. I don't have much of a stance on this one.
Yeah, Matt, fire away.
Well, we have some breaking chef news. The Titans signed Harold Landry to a 5-year, $87.5 million deal. So there goes that option.
Damn. So what is that? 85 million divided by 5. That's what?
7.5 divided by 5. 17.5.
17.5. Okay. So yeah, it was right where we were talking about, right? We were saying 4 years, 68.4 million is what they were saying. So wow, Spot Track was right on. Man, that's depressing.
Wow. Yeah, Spot Track's pretty good, man. I got to hand it to those guys. They're good. I like that site.
Matt, your thoughts on Pringle?
I think that would be like Braxton Berrios walks. Then I think you bring in a guy like Pringle. He could be your burner / deep threat / do a little bit of everything for you kind of reliever.
Kool-Aid drops in with a super chat. Thanks, Kool-Aid. He says, Jets sign Allen Robinson, draft Burks at 10. I know everyone still really likes Burks. I don't want to take a wide receiver at 10. I think the value for wide receiver is definitely at 35 or 38, and it's not, me ripping on Burks at all. It's me just not wanting Wilson or not wanting London or any of that stuff. And I would prefer Christian Watson or Pickens. I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable to think Burks might slide to the beginning part of the second round. I think there's a shot we could get him at 35. Jameson Williams might be there. There's a lot of other players I would prefer at 35 or 38 than I would want to take at 10. I would much prefer to trade down or go a different direction there. Green Bean, I'm going to throw this one to you. Jets sign Allen Robinson, then draft Burks at 10. What say you?
If they did that, I would be happy about it because I happen to really like both players. I don't want to see that's not what I want to see. I happen to agree with you. I'm not quite as high on Watson as maybe you sound like you are. Like I was talking to I think it was Joe Campione in the chat a little while ago. You know, his competition at North Dakota State was not necessarily impressive. So his athleticism is there. It can't be taken away from him. But he's another one that I think is going to have a little bit of a learning curve in the NFL. So those kind of guys spook me. That first or second round picks. But I like Allen Robinson as our free agent. I don't want to give away a draft pick for the right to pay Amari Cooper $20 million. I get it, but I don't want to do that. I would rather wait till he gets in the market and pay him 17 or 6, something like that. I don't think he's a $20 million guy. And I love Cooper. I think these prices are insane. And Dallas, this is why they want to get rid of him. It's not that he's not good. It's that they overpaid the shit out of him and they don't want to do that anymore. So I don't want to get into the same situation and then give away a pick on top of it. Again, I understand it. So I would love to get Allen Robinson and then take another receiver. I really like Burks. He's probably my favorite wide receiver. I do like Garrett Wilson, and I like a few other guys. I'm a big Pickens guy and some others. So I wouldn't be unhappy, but it's not the way I would necessarily go with taking Allen Robinson and then your 10th pick on a wide receiver. That's a lot. That's a lot of premium assets. So, yeah, I wouldn't hate it, though.
Jake drops in with Super Chat. Jake says, not sure if this has been mentioned yet, but could trading DK entice A.J. Brown to reunite with Moore and DK? Thoughts? Not a bad wide receiver group. Jake, could you please pass that joint that you're smoking? Because I would 100% want it over here, because that is lunacy. You guys are Looney Tunes. I agree. I 100%. I would love that wide receiver room. It's never going to happen, and it would cost you probably like $50 million. But yeah, I would say it would be great. Probably slightly unrealistic. Let's see. Where did we go? Wild Billy Boy drops in with a super chat. Says, for anyone bummed about losing out on free agents, just remember JD said this team will be built through the draft. His first draft had to be influenced by Gase. With Salah, it's great and only going to get better. Yeah, look. Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh have told us they want to build this thing through the draft. And ideally, the best teams in the league, they are built through the draft. They retain their players, and when they have good players that they can't re-sign, they let them walk in free agency, they get compensation picks, and they draft more players to reload their roster. So that is absolutely how I would love to build this team. And I think based on free agency, that's exactly why you have to build it through the draft. Because otherwise, you're going to wind up paying through the nose for, DJ Shark or friggin' Allen Robinson or something like that. Like, if you groom your guys, then you don't have to worry about that. So, Matt, I want to throw it to you first. Do you think the right move is building through the draft, or are you upset about, free agency? Give me some feedback on what you think about this.
I think still some pretty good options for free agency, even with some of these guys that have been tagged, but I don't like the narrative you should only build your team one way. I think you have to be creative and do things, just be flexible. Because if you wait and build through the draft, I mean, it's going to be another decade before you're making a push for the playoffs. You get aggressive at some point.
I completely agree. Green Bean, your thoughts on building through the draft?
Well, I spent a large portion of the day listening to a show I like called Just Jets. And Matt had a good point, which is, building through the draft as the foundation. This is how I heard it anyway, Matt. Building through the draft as the foundation is fine. It's great. And I love it. And I'm glad that we're finally doing that. At the same time, we have our quarterback right now. He's in his 5-year window, and we happen to have 50 million. I believe we're probably going to have closer to 65 million once we cut some guys, and maybe 60, 65. So I think that we need to use that money. Like we were talking about last night, Ryan, if you need to pay an extra million to make sure that you get the guys right now, I'm not against that. Like even Berrios, you want to keep your team together. You want to keep talent. You want to reward the guys, set a precedent. It's bigger than just the black and white, the numbers of it all. So I would say the fact that we have money is great. The fact that we built all the draft capital is great. I would like to, at this point, at least be a touch more aggressive than we have been. Building through the draft as your foundation, 100%. Yes, and I love it. But we have some money in free agency. I say we go get a few guys that are going to help our team kind of take that next step. Well-placed, well-thought-out guys. Get them in there, maximum impact, and do that as well.
Ali, your thoughts on building through the draft?
Yeah, from what the previous GMs that we've had, they focused on just free agency, and then they shit the bed in the draft. That's pretty much what it has been for a couple of years. And for the first time, I actually see them working the draft and actually hitting on their picks. You know, there's potential there. There's guys that are going to be maybe around for the Jets for a long time. But, you know, especially that he said, you know, JD and Salah has said that they're going to build through the draft. They're going to do all that stuff. But they also said they're going to be aggressive in free agency if they need to. They know they have a lot of positions that can use upgrades. They know that they could get veteran guys that could make us a playoff team. You know, there's guys out there still in free agency that can help this team regardless. You know, it doesn't have to just be the draft. Yes, the foundation is there and they're building on the foundation. I think they finally have went in a direction where they're actually developing a football team together. But you need to add pieces. They're not just focusing on one part of the offseason, which is free agency. They're focusing on all phases of offseason, which I feel like we've never really done with other regimes and stuff. So I think this is a great approach of them, and they definitely will be aggressive in free agency. I think Douglas is going to make a lot of signings and shock a lot of people this year.
Guys, if you're just tuning in, hit that like button on the way in. For every 25 likes we get, we're going to pick a qualifier for our t-shirt giveaway at the end of the stream. And if you want to check out the free first-round mock draft competition, you could win yourself a jersey if you wind up winning. It could be any team. It doesn't have to be a Jet jersey. Hopefully it is a Jet jersey, but we'll see. Suli, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, love you, Green Bean. Here's half a gallon for you. So there's
What's that,
Suli.
$2?
$2.50.
Julie, thanks, Julie. Half a gallon.
If he's in California, it's a third of a tank.
I tell you, man, I can't do it. But thanks, Julie. I appreciate it, man.
Jose comes in with a super chat. Thank you, Jose. So Matt, I'm going to throw this one to you because I know you were really excited for this player. Sign the safety out of Georgia at 35. What do you think about that?
Well, that's someone who had a really good combine and was a stock up, but his tape at Georgia was really good. There's a lot of guys at the top of the second round who I think are good targets, whether you want to go Daxton Hill, Jaquan Brisker, Seen, oh my God, Baylor safety who I'm liking on, who is at the Senior Bowl,
The
Petrie.
fast one, Woods, right? Petrie.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's a ton of different options, but Seen, I think he's a hard hitter too. I feel like he could be a nice, strong safety option. You pair him with someone in free agency to play free safety.
Taps Any Button drops him a super chat. Says, please stop the sauce at 4 nonsense. Hashtag Bananaland. God, I love me some Bananaland, but man, dude, I love me some sauce. I just want to see some wide receivers covered in sauce. That's just what I want. Like, I want that in the worst way. If you're telling me I can say, oh, dude, it's just, it just sets up so well.
That does. That's good. I got to give that to you. That is, that's begging. Yeah, that's.
I want to get lost in the sauce. That's what it is. There's so much that I could do with this, and I like him. I like the personality. I want to root for that guy. If we draft Thibodeau, I'm gonna root for him. But man, there's something about him I just don't like. It's the same way I didn't feel that way about Jamal until that trade deadline stuff, but I feel that way about Kayvon now, and I think that's kind of where I'm a little irked about it. Let's see who's up next. Shivanshu, where's your super chat, guys? I'm just working my way through some of these, so just bear with me. If you put one in, we'll come up to it. Shivanshu drops in with super chat. Says, with the free agency pool shrinking, what are realistic targets to help Zach on offense? Mind you, we also have to compete with other teams as we bid. Yeah. So let's go around the table. Let's talk about. Let's give one name, one option that you would like to go in free agency. It doesn't necessarily have to be helping Zach on offense. It can if you want. But I think Douglas and Salah have both said it could be helping Zach by way of getting turnovers or by, getting turnover on downs, things of that nature, getting stops. So For me, one offensive player that I think you could look at is DJ Shark from Jacksonville. I think the very high upside. I think there is a strong chance. Well, I mean, he's definitely testing the market. They already used their franchise tag on Cam Robinson. I think he's a high upside guy. Again, I don't know if it's necessarily. I don't know. He would be one that I would look at for sure. I think the upside's there. He can grow with Zach Wilson, but you just got to know, like, is he going to bud into the star that you're hoping he's going to bud into? Matt, is there a player on your mind that you think could help this team in free agency?
Yeah, there definitely is. Offensive line, Lincoln Tomlinson, Austin Corbett, something like that. Tight end, you can still go with Zach Ertz, Hayden Hurst, something like that. Allen Robinson's hitting market, so there are definitely some options here. It sucks to see some of these big names become not available, but that's business. It's gonna happen.
Green Bean, what about you? Name one free agent you'd like to see the Jets sign.
If we could only sign one guy, Von Miller. Yeah, that's what I want. I want Joe Douglas to come out of nowhere and just all of a sudden, day one, the Jets out of nowhere sign Von fucking Miller. That's what I want the headline to be. But more realistically, I think I'm with Matt. I think priority should be that right guard spot. There are a few really good guys that could fit the bill. Laken Tomlinson, like you said, James Daniels, Alex Kappa. There's a few guys that would literally lock that down for us, and we wouldn't have to worry about it in the draft. I think, the fact that we have so many young guys around the team, like, let's just get a vet that kind of knows the system, at least the wide zone system. Get them in there and let's get what we already know they will be, rather than a draft pick. I think that would be my priority. If I had to pick one, I would probably go Laken Tomlinson, because he was literally under these coaches. Like, John Benton was his offensive line coach for years. So I think that you can't get more comfortable than that.
Ali, your thoughts on the free agents class?
Yeah, I really do like Marcus Williams. I feel like he would be a good fit in that defense of Robert Saleh's defense that they have there. I don't know. I think he would be a really good player to build around. I think he would be a guy that they could draft other guys in the draft and match it up in the secondary, because the secondary struggled. There's no doubting that. And I feel like Marcus Williams is a talented player who can come in and make plays for you. And that's kind of what the Jets defense needs. We need a guy that can make plays. And I feel like he's just made plays no matter what he's done. We still don't know what's going to happen with Marcus May, so we don't know the situation with him at safety. So getting a guy like Marcus Williams, he's reliable. He's a guy that is known around the league as a good player. So I think Marcus Williams is one guy, and I feel like if Amari Cooper also gets released and becomes a free agent, I would go after him just because or at least test it out and see what they can do with that, because obviously there's going to be a market for him. Obviously there's going to be a lot of bidders, and you're going to lose a lot of bids against a lot of players because we're the Jets, right? So we're not ready to win, and all their teams are in a much better place to start winning games. So it's not very attractive, but if the Jets throw money at him, he definitely will come, and that will help Zach Wilson in this offense. And I think if he does become available and gets released, I think it's a realistic target for the Jets.
Taps any button, drops in the super chat, says, we should only draft O-line or D-end at 4. Stop with the nonsense. Yeah, look, ideally you want to take D-end at 4. I think that is 100% the way you want to go. I think when you're considering how you want to build your team, if you grade one player, like the reason I say Sauce at 4 prior to, the last day and a half or so, was I would grade Sauce higher than the second corner by a pretty substantial margin. And then I would say that the edge rushers are kind of all sort of clumped together with me. So I could go any which direction on the edge rusher, but I think if you fall in love with an edge rusher, take him at 4. He's far more important. He's going to be far more impactful than the corner you're going to take at 4. 100%, regardless of how you feel about him. Let's see. Who was next on here? Shivanshu. Saw you in here. Bam. Drops in with a super chat, says, first round corners scare me. Kyle Wilson, D. Milliner, Eli Apple, J.C. Horn, etc. especially in a league where rules are anti-corners, no more shutdown corners. Yeah, look, I can understand that. That doesn't mean you don't need corners. I think you can still shade coverages certain ways, and that'll drastically help your defense. I think that's probably, to an extent, why we saw maybe some of the struggles by C.J. Mosley and things like that. Like, I think we played our linebackers a little differently than we would have otherwise done had we had a little more help in the secondary and a little bit more pressure coming up front. Breaking news. Bobby Wagner has been released. That's big time.
Oh, wow.
Was he on Seattle with Salah? I think he was.
He must.
pretty
I'm
He's
pretty
been
sure I
there
saw a
forever.
picture. I'm pretty sure I saw a picture with him in like
I think
on Instagram or
there
something.
was. You got to think he's going to be someone that we're going to keep an eye on in free agency. I'd be about that. He's got to be 30 or 31 now.
He's 31, right? I'm
Okay.
looking at it right now.
Yeah, I don't know what he winds up going for as far as like a contract would go, but I mean, anytime you have a report with the head coach of another team and you won a Super Bowl with him, I think that's probably not a bad move. Matt, I'm going to throw this one to you. First round corners, scare the heck out of 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐵𝐻. No more shutdown corners in the league. How you feel about corners?
I think it's still important, and I'm not anti-cornerback. I would prefer corner over safety in the first round. I'm just more pro pass rush than I am pro corner. So I lean more so towards drifting one of the top edge rushers than I do a corner. But I like Sauce a lot. Like I said a bunch already. He's my number one corner. I think he's going to be a very good player in this league.
𝐷HXLLL or 3. Thanks for the super chat. It says Amari Cooper or Allen Robinson. Let's get Ali's take. I want to hear what Ali's thoughts on this are.
So, player-wise, I'll probably go Amari Cooper. Money-wise, it's probably gonna be Allen Robinson. It's different. It's two different players, just in different circumstances. It's Allen Robinson come in and still make plays for us, but Amari Cooper is that big, bold signing you would make in free agency for him to put 1,000 yards up for us, and be 10 touchdowns at least for the season. So like that's the expectation from Amari Cooper. Allen Robinson's more of like 700, 800 yards, like very low level type player that really doesn't help. So I think if you look at both players, they're just in different scenarios. Because Cooper is wanting so much money. Allen Robinson, you can get a pretty cheap deal from because he hasn't really done much last year or so. So I think you would just get him for much cheaper. But if I had to choose one of those guys, it'd probably be Cooper. Allen Robinson and the Jets are always connected, and it never happens. Yeah. And I feel like for the first time, it actually might happen this year. But I kind of just want to stay away from that a little bit. I kind of do like Amari Cooper a little bit more, but it's more of the money that comes in the way.
Yeah, Cooper's an interesting one because if you trade for him, you're going to give up a 5th-round pick. So you're getting a player that I don't think would have come here if he hit free agency. And he's due $20 million this year. But if you sign Allen Robinson, I don't think Allen Robinson's signing for a 1-year deal. So I think you're actually dishing out more guaranteed money for Allen Robinson than you would for Amari Cooper, giving up a 5th. So it's kind of an interesting dilemma. You could go either way. I would say if you bring in Allen Robinson for, say, a 2 or 3 year contract, you're probably looking at moving off Corey Davis after this year, where Cooper, I think, probably opens the door for either Cooper or, Corey Davis to wind up staying a little bit longer. Steve Love drops in with a super chat. Steve says, I wanted Robby back until he did the Jets celebration when he scored on us. He spit in our faces. Dude, how much did that suck when that happened? Green Bean, I know you were all fired up about Robby Anderson doing the airplane when we threw the bomb, or he caught the bomb from Sam Darnold. It's just, it's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, of course, from his perspective, like let's flip it. If that was our guy, like when Corey Davis caught the bomb, when Zach Wilson pointed him down the field and Corey Davis caught the touchdown on the Titans, we were psyched for Corey Davis to rub it in the face of his former team that let him go. So I do get it, but on our side, fuck him.
That just makes me also happy to see that. David Gerard drops in with a super chat. David says, Salah wants guys who love football, not what it can do for them. KT went to Oregon because he is because he is guaranteed a job by Nike. I know it's different, but still. So let me play a clip because I did have this queued up, and I just want to show you guys the conversation that Joel Klatt from Fox Sports had with Kayvon Thibodeau, and I just want you to hear from Kayvon how you feel. Like, is he all in, or is he more setting himself up for the future? And is it a good or a bad thing? But I want to hear your thoughts after we watch this.
Listen, you're going to be a superstar in the NFL, but for guys that aren't, it means something that they're a Crimson Tide
Can
player.
I give you a perspective?
Yes.
If I gave you a fishing pole, would you know how to use it?
No. I don't fish.
You don't fish. School has never been important to me, or a job or a career has never been important until I was done playing football. How would I know how to go get a career or a job? I won't.
I think it's been one of my arguments for a long time that we don't have mandatory financial planning classes in, like
And it's not even,
for every kid in college football, they should be in classes that teach them how to operate their finances. And
what world do I want to be a part of? If I go to Alabama, I'm going to win national championships. Literally. I said, but do I want to be a guy who's known to be a national championship winner? Or do I want to be a guy who's known for being a part of the greatest organization in the world? But a brand like Nike, I mean, for me, it was like, what brand associations do I want to be tied to?
Sure.
You know what I mean? And for me, I already hate the stigmatism of football players being dumb jocks.
Totally.
So now, do you know what the stigmatism of Alabama education? It ain't the West Coast.
No.
You know what I mean? It ain't, it ain't Harvard.
No, I
So
hear
for
you.
me, I have to look at it and say, I'm only going to be in college for 3 years. Like I said, if I would have went to Alabama, I probably would still be there, and we wouldn't be sitting here today. 2, I probably wouldn't have graduated yet. And 3, I don't know if my degree would mean anything. And there's no guarantee. I think Oregon might be the only place where you are guaranteed, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's a guarantee, but there is a 90% chance that if you want to, a Nike opportunity is there. And there's a guarantee that if you play football at Oregon, you can work in the corporate Nike world. That's a guarantee. And Phil Knight, I could call him and he'd tell you that today.
So guys, I want to go back to your thoughts about Kayvon's thought process, because he said, and I quote, I could go to Alabama and I could win championships. But he didn't want to do that. He wanted to go to Oregon and set himself up later on. Like, I want the guy that wants to win. I'm sorry. Like, I want someone who's thinking of the now, not someone who's thinking, about his future. And he winds up going on TV and saying something really stupid. He doesn't even say the right words at times. Stigmatism. Come on, dude. I don't know. For me, this isn't even the only time that this has come up. He told scouts he was going to be doing all the drills, and he dipped out of all the drills. Like, are scouts and GMs going to trust this guy? He's brought up, the taxes in New Jersey and in California. Is that going to be an issue when we try to re-sign him down the road? There were scouts. I was talking to Joe last night who had him in an interview for 15 minutes, and he brought up his brand 3 times. Like, I don't think this guy is in it for the football. I think he's in it for everything that football gives him. And I'm sorry, I don't want Kayvon Thibodeau. That's just my thoughts. Matt, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to go around the panel. Talk to me.
I think that he is trying to make sure that he's set up financially for more than just, hey, I'm going to play in the NFL for 7 years or however long the average NFL career is and then just be done. I think outside of the stigmatism, that's pretty just F out loud to me that he's that and the stigma. But he was right about pretty much everything else he was saying. I really don't have it. I think he's a smart guy, and I think the biggest takeaway that I had wasn't from that conversation. It was from when he was talking about how he studies NFL tape so much, and he takes these moves from these other pass rushers and applies it into his own game. It kind of reminds me of the people who were saying last year that Zach Wilson's a spoiled rich kid and that he doesn't care about ball and he doesn't have that same drive. I don't know, we're just looking for reasons to put people down.
Greenbean, what are your thoughts on Kayvon Thibodeau after hearing all that?
Yeah, Ryan, I hate to disagree with you. I do. I like agreeing with you. It feels good.
Oh no, I want you to disagree. I'm good. I like getting fired up. This is you get me charged.
I think again, I was listening to a show earlier called Just Jets, and they touched on this little bit. And it's like, I gotta say, while I don't think he came off awesome, like Matt said, the stigmatism thing, like you're talking about education and you're misusing words, and it's a bad look, and I don't deny that, but I'm not hearing an overt negative like that he doesn't care about football. He's just trying to say that I'm trying to set my life up. Like, I don't think he handled it well. I don't even really get what he's trying to say, like about being part of the greatest organization in the world, like Nike. And okay, I just think he's a young guy trying to sound, good. That's what I think. I don't really hear. I get the concern a little bit, but I don't hear it. It's not, to me, I'm like, it doesn't push me away. It's like, okay, he needs some guidance. This guy, he needs Carl Lawson next to him, telling him to sit the hell down. You know what I mean? That's what he needs. And he'll get that, So I don't know. I don't see the same thing. I get what you're saying, Ryan, but I don't feel that same. Now, stop and doing the drills at the combine. I don't know what that is. You know what I mean? But yeah,
it's
he's
weird.
not.
There's enough little things that like irk me. It's just like I was 2 weeks ago. I was on board with Kayvon, and I'm like, every little thing. Like I think the combine is what kind of pushed me just enough over the edge. Like this guy's full of himself. I understand feeling yourself. You're one of the top players in the country. You need to be an alpha dog, and you need to think that you are like the best player ever. But like, I feel like he walks through life thinking he's the main character in everyone else's story, and it's just like it irks me.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, again, it's not sticking to me like it's sticking to you. I don't think he came off good. I'm like, he sounds a little bit like a doof to me.
Yeah.
He's trying to sound better than maybe he is.
He's the smartest person in the room, and I think he believes that.
Why, you don't fish?
I don't fish. What do you mean you don't fish? What if he said yes? It would have totally thrown off that whole conversation. Ali,
it wouldn't have went anywhere.
Yeah, from my perspective, the way I see it, of how him saying that about Nike and all that stuff, like I look at it in my perspective, like as like a normal human being, like we're not football, we're not there. We look at different options of what we want to do in life. We look at let careers be beyond what I want to do. I think that's what he's trying to prepare for, because football, with sports, your career can end tomorrow if you get hurt. It can end like that. So I feel like he's trying to prepare himself for maybe the future of, if like I get hurt or something like that, I'll be thinking that doesn't necessarily mean he's not in the right mindset for football. Like I love podcasting, but is that like, it's not going to take me away from podcasting. I like doing other stuff. I like doing reporting. I like to go do journalism, stuff like that. So he wants to have plans. He wants to have a backup plan if something goes wrong with his main plan. And I think his main plan is football. But if something goes wrong, and you've seen this a lot of high draft picks go down the drain, they get hurt and they don't have enough money for their lives and take care of their kids and everything. So what they think of the longer plan for what they want to do. He obviously didn't portray correctly. I think he just looked like a fool talking, and he just didn't do it correctly. And maybe he's just not good on camera. But I think he was in the mindset of where he was thinking about his career and his life. He was just trying to think about his life. If something goes down the drain, I have a backup option. I can do this. I can do that. And that's what he's trying to pretty much say. I don't think it's a huge thing for me, but what the Jets need to do regarding that situation, if they have even a little bit of concern, they need to do background checks. They need to keep looking into that thing. And especially if the Jets have him available at 4 and they're on the clock, they better know every little thing about him. They need to know every single thing about this guy, about how he treats teammates and all that stuff. So that's up to the Jets to figure out. But as of now, a guy who's just watching this video, I just think does not look good on camera. And that's a lot of people. That's a lot of athletes that don't look good on camera. They just sound weird. They just sound like they don't really care. But I think it's more of just like he's just trying to figure out his future.
So, Ali, I do agree with you to an extent. But by his own admission, Kayvon Thibodeau met with the Giants and they talked to him about, if you don't get 5 sacks and the media starts getting on you, are you going to have an issue? And he said, I've been trained in media and how to talk since sophomore year of high school. I don't buy that he's not comfortable in front of the camera. He does great in interviews. When he's coached up, he does well. But I feel like when he starts going off these tangents, I think that's where he winds up getting himself in trouble. And I'm sorry, it's just something that I want to be wrong because I want the talent, but I think I'd rather go with other edge rushers that aren't necessarily maybe at conflict or personality. Yeah, well, like I don't mind. Like I don't think he's that much better than everyone else that I would pass on like Walker or Karlaftis. If I think they're on relatively even footing. So I don't know. I'm kind of all over the map here. Mutt Viles drops him in the super chat, says, fix the offense in free agency, draft defense. Yeah, look, I'm 100% on board with that because I think you should go, if you want to go after Jensen or Bozeman, clearly they don't want McGovern because we've been linked to 2 centers. We've been linked to Linderbaum. We've been linked to Zion Johnson, testing him out at center when he didn't play center. He's a guard. I think there's definitely enough smoke around this that we're probably going to move on from McGovern. You re-sign Fant. You have your offensive line kind of set. And then you go into the draft, and like Green Bean's been preaching all offseason, play to the strengths of the draft. Get your safety, get your corner, get your edge rusher, get like all these guys at the top parts of the draft because that's where the strength of all this is. So I agree with you, Mutt Viles. AZ Jets drops in with a super chat. Thank you so much. Says, pay J.C. Jackson whatever he wants. So his spot track projected salary, 5 years, $104.7 million. That's $21 million a year. He had 8 interceptions this past year. He has led the league in not led the league. He has the most interceptions in the NFL since 2018. He has the most interceptions in the league since 2019. He has the most interceptions in the league since 2020. So this guy's an elite ball hawk of a cornerback, and I have no problem going after him whatsoever. I just have, sauce on my mind right now. So I'm like, that's sort of where I'm at. But I love J.C. Jackson. If you have to spend premium dollars somewhere, spending premium dollars on J.C. Jackson, I have no problem with that. But he says Thibodeau at 4, Garrett Wilson 10, safety McBride, Zion in the 2nd, Muma or Anderson in the 3rd, interior offensive line, and 2nd tight end in the 4th. Wilson keeps growing on me. I like Garrett Wilson. I want to ask you guys for possibly a comparison. I think that Garrett Wilson, and Joe said it yesterday, looks very similar to Odell Beckham Jr. And I don't know if you guys feel similar to that. Matt, what are your thoughts on Garrett Wilson?
Well, the running abilities, I would say yes, and like the chance of like catching something over the middle and turn up the field and going. I think he's probably the one who could come in with highest score and like good right away. So I think he's safe, but there's still like a really high ceiling there also. I understand why he's a lot of people wide receiver 1, he's a wide receiver 2. But he would be a home run for me at pick 10.
Green Bean, what are your thoughts about Wilson at number 10?
You want to hear something nobody's talking about? Did you guys see? I watched his drills numerous times. He jumped in the air unnecessarily on 3 of the 5 passes in the gauntlet, and also on his other routes. He jumps he leaves his feet when it's not necessary to leave his feet, and that's a confidence thing. That's a weird little, like when quarterbacks, like, they'll tap the ball before they throw it. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things. Like, I really like Garrett Wilson. I think he's very surgical with his route running, but I wonder, there's something there, and I don't know what it is. But yeah, I mean, I've talked to a few people and they all said the same thing. It could be a confidence thing, which is a little spooky, for a guy. He's coming into the big leagues and he's a little nervous. You know what I mean? He's a little nervous, and he's got a bad little habit there. So that's just something that I'm surprised I didn't hear more people talk about it. But that's something that rubbed me a little bit and something to look at. But that said, I like him. I still don't want a receiver at 10, but if we grabbed him, I wouldn't be unhappy. You know what I mean?
Ali, your thoughts on Wilson?
Yeah, Green Bean said it correctly. With Wilson, I wouldn't mind it, but I don't want a wide receiver at 10. I think it's deep. Again, I'm going to say it again. It's a very deep class. I feel like there's a lot of talent in this wide receiver class, and the Jets can grab one in the second round or third. I also don't see McBride really dropping to the second. I'm sorry, but I think people love him. I really do. And if the Jets want to get McBride, I think they need to trade down from the 10 if they want McBride that badly. I don't think if anything, if he makes it to the second round, he's going the first pick in the second round. He's just that good of a player, and I think he rocked the Senior Bowl. I think he rocked the Combine, and all his highlights are pretty good. So I don't think that's really realistic for us. But if somehow he does, that'd be incredible. And then I do like to double down on the tight end. I think the Jets room is just so terrible that they need to get tight ends in that room. They need to get new guys on there. And I think there's a couple of guys in this draft that you can grab late in the round who can be a decent tight end at least. So I would love to have Wilson at 10, but I think the better thing and I think the end result for the Jets will be that they trade down from 10.
Chris Bucco, thank you for super chat, says Jensen, Patrick Ricard, A-Rob, Jordan Whitehead. Matt, I'll toss this one to you. What do you think about Chris's offseason?
Couple things. First, I'm very clearly having internet issues. If I knew what the issue was, I would have fixed it by now. So I don't know what the fuck the chat wants me to do. I'm doing my absolute best over here. So I'm sorry. Like I don't know. I'm trying. Like, yeah, I'm not downloading porn. I just have bad internet today. Sorry, guys. Like, that's it.
It sounds like someone's feeling a little bit like Green Bean right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know, guys. I'm having a bad internet day. Like, I don't know. What do you want me to do? Jensen, I think, is massively overrated. He's a walking penalty. A-Rob is a little bit scared all this past year. He definitely does scare me a little bit. I hope it was just down there with a rough quarterback situation. And Jordan Whitehead is a nice fit at safety, so be a fan of that.
Edward Ziff drops in with a super chat, says Joe Douglas is getting icky. Stop the nonsense. Green Bean, I want to hear your thoughts on 𝐒𝐿𝐿 at the top of the draft.
First of all, I think Icky's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars pick. That's my thought. And it should be. But that said, you really think Joe Douglas is using yet another top first-round pick on a position that he's already used firsts on, and he already has players, and we have holes all over the place. I find it, I know people are talking about it. It never resonated with me. Again, if we decided to go, big and we just get first round, we just nail down our offensive line. We get Icky and Linderbaum. Like, it's not what I would do, but I love it. Like, I get it. I know what he's doing. It makes sense. I'm with it. That said, I don't think he's using yet a third first round pick on offensive line when we have the 32nd defense, no tight ends. We're missing a right guard. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I don't think that's likely.
Matt Morris drops in with the super chat, says top 10 mock draft real quick. Okay, so let's do this real quick. We'll do around the horn. So I'll start. We'll go to Matt. We'll go to Green Bean. We'll go to Ali. So Ali, you're going to be making the Jets pick. So I'm going to say I agree with Green Bean. I do think 𝐒𝐿𝐿 will wind up being the number 1 overall pick. I think that the Jaguars are going to take him. They'll plug him in at guard, and then in the event that they can't re-sign Cam Robinson, he'll wind up kicking out to tackle at some point in the future. Matt, where do you think the Lions go at number 2?
Hudson.
Green Bean. The Texans at number 3. We just lost 𝐒𝐿𝐿 at 1. We lost Hutchinson at 2. Where do the Texans go at 3?
Malik Willis.
Ooh, interesting. All right. So Ali, where do you think the Jets go at 4?
Kyle Hamilton.
Ooh, that would just get Jet fans all sorts of fired up in a good and bad way. There's some people you either love Hamilton or you are like, stay away. All right, so if the Jets go Hamilton, I think the Giants are going. I think they're going to go offensive line. I think they're going to go with whoever they like best between Neal and Cross. I'll say Neal because he just seems to be like the top guy, even though I think Cross. Actually, I'm going to go Cross instead because Cross hasn't given up a sack in his entire college career. And he's been a starter, I think, for 3 or 4 years now. So I'll say Cross at 5. Matt, your thoughts on Carolina at 6?
I mean, Neal and Thibodeau, they could hit a home run either way here. I'll give them the lineman, Neal.
Yeah, I think that's the right move. I think between the Giants' first pick and the Panthers, I think both of them want to go O-line, and I think they're going to take whoever they like most. And it might be Neal, it might be Cross, it might be Cross, it might be Neal, something along those lines. Green Bean, where do you think the Giants go at 7?
At Thibodeau, he's still there.
Yep,
It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a slam dunk. It makes all the sense in the world.
I agree with that. Ali, at number 8, we got the Falcons.
I do like Jermaine Johnson for them. They do need an edge. They need a pass rush help. So I think Jermaine Johnson from Florida State.
Ooh, interesting. So we got Seattle at number 9. My understanding through some of the Twitter things that I've been reading, it seems like they want to go with an edge rusher. If that's the case, then I'd probably say Walker at 9, which would be a real kick in the pants for me. I'm not going to lie. Matt, where do you think the Jets go at 10 if the board falls this way? Or do you think we try like hell to trade down?
Wilson?
What was that?
Wilson?
I think that's probably right. I think you try to help Zach Wilson at that point. I think you might try to trade down. It depends how you feel, I guess, about the other receivers in the class. But I think that's probably about right. I think we're not too far off on our little mock here. Taps any button. Taps any button comes in with Super Chat, says if Drake London runs under a 4.55, draft him at number 10. If Drake London runs a 4.5 at 6'5", that's incredibly impressive, especially after a broken ankle. Now, obviously, you do want to see him do his wide receiver drills, make sure that he can cut on that ankle, and you're not seeing any kind of, lag or anything like that. I would say I still don't want to go receiver at 10. I'm going to kind of stick with that regardless of what happens with Wilson, regardless of what happens with Drake London. But I think you definitely have to consider it. And I think if he runs under a 4.55, he may go at 8 to the Falcons. But we shall see. Shivanshu drops in with a super chat, says, how do teams in cap hell retain all their talent? BS. So here's how they do it. And it's the formula that the Saints have been using for the last few years, and they add void years. And I think that's eventually what's going to wind up happening with the Packers and Rodgers and Adams. And I don't know if the Rodgers contract numbers were actually released on what it actually is, but I do think they do it with Adams. And they did it with Brady down in Tampa Bay. You add void years onto contracts. And basically, if you have, let's call it a $100 million contract, and it stretches out over the course of 5 years, if you add an additional 2 years of void years where the player is technically under contract, their signing bonus gets spread across 7 years instead of just 5 years, so it lowers the cap hit. And then it gives you the opportunity to sign more players, but you're paying for it on the back end. So the reason the Saints are in this weird situation right now is they're going to have to start paying players more guaranteed money than they may be worth to get under the cap. So you're going to have this weird situation where, like, let's say the cap is $200 million. The Saints might be playing with like 160 for the next few years, like or something along those lines. Like, that's where you're kind of setting yourself up for. And I don't love it, but when you're in a situation like the Packers, like Russell Wilson, like Tom Brady, those win now quarterbacks towards the end of their career, I think it's 100% the right move. I just don't think the Jets are in that type of situation right now. Matthew Wright drops in with the super chat, says Seahawks just released Bobby Wagner, Thibodeau at 4. Yeah, look, I would love to bring in Bobby Wagner. I think, I don't know, how many years you get him for, but I think someone who played with Saleh, and if Saleh really likes him, I think that's a ringing endorsement, and it'd be silly not to do it. Now, I do know that he saved the Seahawks, I think, $15 million in salary cap space, so I don't know what his actual contract was, but you'd have to imagine he'd want a pretty high contract figure, and he's 31 years old. He's probably not going to get another big deal anywhere. So if he doesn't get a big deal, then I could see him coming to us. If not, like, I don't particularly want to pay a ton of money to a linebacker at his age. Greenbean, I'll throw it to you. What do you think about Bobby Wagner?
Let's go overpay him. Get him in. Let's go. 20 mil.
Wow. Aggressive. I
Yeah.
like it.
I think we should take a swing, though. We
yeah,
should.
why not,
We should
right?
definitely take a swing. Sure.
I like bringing in guys that our coaching staff knows. I think that provides confidence and provides knowledge in the coaching system, which is why I'm definitely on board with Lake and Tomlinson.
Right.
You know, an Allen Robinson, I don't know how much of a connection there is. Like, I know Robert Saleh and him overlapped in Jacksonville, but I don't know how much like the offenses actually overlap. I know I think in my mock draft I had us taking Robinson, so I'm definitely guilty of that. But I don't know if guys fit, and I feel like Wagner, may fit this defense well. Fly Guy 1 says, I love all your guys' shows. I have to be honest here. If Kayvon Thibodeau is at 4, I want him. He is a diva, but I think he grows out of it. Well, that's just it, right? Like, he's 20 years old, and there is a maturity thing. Like, if you told me at 20 years old, I'm going to be the top dog going into an enormous college, and everyone's going to be talking about me, I'm going to be going on all these national media things, I would have my head full of hot air. I would be the biggest asshole, and no one would want to talk to me, like, ever. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I get it. Like, I understand where Thibodeau is, because I'm not naive to think that, like, you have a young player, they're talented, they have everything in the world right there, and he's trying to be, I don't want to say smart, but he's trying to be forward thinking and thinking about his future, and I get that. So if you can get around some of the other stuff, I just think there's too many breadcrumbs for me to really love it. Matt, do you think that Thibodeau grows out of these little things that we're kind of running into?
Yeah, I do. I think most people, as they get a little bit older, they mature. And I think coming here would help because there are a lot of guys on the defensive line who could take him under their wing, whether it be Lawson or even Quinn at the point or Sheldon Rankins. I think he'd be in fine hands.
Greenman, you think KT is going to grow out of his slight immaturity issues?
Yeah, I think Saleh and, like I said, Carl Lawson and some of the guys that we have, I mean, he's going to come in and they're the right guys for that kind of thing. Because I don't see it, like, he's not out there doing the Jamal Adams thing, calling himself the Prez, and like, he's not doing that,
He
like
calls himself the next 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐶𝐞𝐞 Clowney instead.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not a nickname. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not a tagline. Hey, no, dude, they ask every single player. They ask every single player who they comp themselves to. So every player says it. You know what I mean?
So he looks at himself and he calls himself a generational player that underperforms at the next level? Like, come on. Pick someone better, dude. They're going to ask that question.
So
he doesn't even play like Clowney.
He likes Clowney. So what?
Screw Clowney.
I mean, again, to me, I don't know. That to me is so insignificant. Again, he gets into the NFL. We know the guy can play his balls off. He's never been a problem. He's never gotten a DUI, right? He's never got caught gambling. Like, he's never done any of that stuff. He's a good kid who happens to be high on himself, but he's performed the same way all throughout his career. He's always, when he's on the field, he's fucking brought it. He's been one of the best guys in the game, if not the best at his position during his time in college. And it's like, he gets around guys like Saleh and all that. I don't think they're too scared. Now, if there's more there that we don't know and they don't like them, then they'll make that decision. I don't think they'll bring him on if they think like what you're saying, Ryan. I don't think if they think that he is what you're talking about, they're not going to bring him on, because they're not going to, one drop of red dye makes the whole cup of water red. You know what I mean? So they're not going to bring in a bomb into their clubhouse. That said, I'm not hearing what you're hearing. I see it, but it's not like, I don't know, Jay, saying you're like Clowney. Okay. Saying he wants to go fishing because he picked up. He's trying to justify his school choice. So he's trying to say things. That's right. You know what I mean? He's fucking 21. What is he, 20?
Remember when I said at the trade deadline that I was done with Jamal and everyone got all angry with me? For the longest time, I said Jamal is going to be traded. His ass is out the door, and no one believed me. No one believed me. I get in the same willies about Kayvon Thibodeau, and I hope you're right. And I do trust Douglas and I trust Saleh to make the right decision. So I do think that
was
there's
3 years. That was 3 years of Jamal Adams, though. At that point, it took.
But it was 6 months of Joe Douglas. Not even. It was what? It was November. Yeah. What did he get hired in July? August, September, October. It was 5 months. 5 months of Joe Douglas. Not even, because it was the end of October. or like November 1st or something like that. So I'm just saying. All I'm saying is that I'm saying.
You can't ignore it. You definitely can't ignore it. Like, you have to factor this stuff in because we've placed a premium on character. You know what I mean? Like, we want guys that when the going gets rough, they don't crumble and complain and whine. We saw it last year. We had a rough year. Guys like Bryce Hall, Michael Carter, Elijah Moore, like, they stayed together, man. They never lost faith. They're here. They're learning. We need to continue that. So if they think Thibodeau is going to be that, then they won't take them. I'm confident in that. That said, I'm not hearing the alarms like you are.
See, I think if he winds up not getting a sack through the first 5 games, like the Giants kind of asked him, I think we are going to see an issue. And I hope you're right. And I do think that Douglas will probably make the right decision, and I trust them to do that. They got probably the most talented front office that I've seen since being a fan. DHX drops in the super chat, says 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻, Karlaftis, or Thibodeau and Linderbaum at 4 and 10. Man.
Oh, that's good though.
That's
all good. I'd be happy.
That's a great question. So would I. I would be happy with either one, but if I had to pick one, oh god, I don't want Thibodeau to jade me so much that I'm completely anti him. Screw it. I'm going to 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻, Karlaftis. I'm sorry, screw it. Matt, who do you want?
Yeah.
I want the first batch because I think 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻 is versatile and play inside or outside, which I think is really important for this year. And I'm still a big Karlaftis guy, even if the NFL isn't right now.
Green Bean, which one would you choose?
Yeah, I think I like Karlaftis a whole bunch too. So I think I would go with 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻 because of the versatility, like Matt said, and Karlaftis. Yeah, Linderbaum's strictly a center. He's 285 or something like that. So as much as I like
there's a center, I was gonna say I don't think there's a center under 300 pounds right now. Maybe the guy up in Minnesota, but that's like it. Bradbury.
Yeah, Bradbury was light when he came out too. He concentrated. His big thing was his speed and agility, you know. And Linderbaum's nastier than Bradbury. But again, I think if I had to choose one or the other, I'm going with 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻, Karlaftis over Thibodeau, Linderbaum.
Ali, your thoughts?
Yeah, same thing. I'd probably go with 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻. That's all. You guys pretty much wrapped everything. So you guys said everything.
Shavanchu, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. He says, that mock draft just made me weep. Felt like 2013. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I don't want Hamilton at 4. I really don't.
I'm not gonna release my mock draft now. I'm not gonna do that on screen. Yeah, I'm not doing that right now.
Dude,
come on.
I have so I just put together my first full first round mock draft because I did it for the mock draft competition. If you guys want to get involved with it, it's totally free down below in the description. I put that out. I don't want Hamilton. If worst case scenario, you wind up with Hamilton and let's say Linderbaum, like I'd be incredibly disappointed as far as the allocation of resources. But I think we got 2 guys that are elite at their particular positions and will be around for a long, long time that you don't have to have an issue with. And I think Linderbaum, God, I just don't want to take him in the top 10. If you're following Green Bean and I yesterday, we got him at 35.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Yes, we did. We had a slam dunk draft last night,
dude,
boy.
We scored it real well. If you guys didn't check out our mock draft, head over to Green Bean's channel because it was pretty good last night. All right, Austin Berry drops in with a super chat. He says, Ryan, my guy, killing it. KT scares the crap out of me. He's so explosive, but young. Maybe he grows out of this thing. Trade down from 4, get Walker. I really like Walker, and just talking to Joe Blewett, like he's all on board Walker as well. I don't think he's not like against Thibodeau necessarily. I would say I'm probably one of the more outspoken people on that, but I like Walker a lot. He measured in at like 35-inch arms. That's like friggin' like orangutan arms. That's enormous. This guy's gonna throw people around. You see how much he bended on all those drills? Like I think what Walker is about to do to the NFL is really impressive. I would prefer Walker at 4 over KT at 4, to be perfectly honest. Matt, what are your thoughts on that?
That's just crazy. I
Dude, he could kick him inside and outside. Dude, I love it. Versatility, my friend. Versatility.
He's really good against the run. I think he needs to show a little bit more in the pass rush game. I don't agree with you guys all on KT, but that's crazy to me.
Green Bean, your thoughts on KT versus Walker?
I don't have Walker as high as a lot of other people. I like him. He's my 5, I think it is. So again, like I look at combines and they don't move guys around like they do for a lot of other people. They firm things up, or they, the combine workouts will kind of keep, like if I have a concern, it'll iron that out, or one of those things. But like, I don't know. I don't get blown away by guys in the shorts and stuff. I liked his workout. He looked great. Good for him. He definitely made some money. But if I'm picking straight up one or the other, I'm taking Thibodeau.
Ooh. Ali, your thoughts?
Ryan Goodman, Walker at 4. We would actually consider Walker at 4 over KT.
Daniel Jeremiah had him going 5 to the Giants a month ago before the combine. Just saying.
That's crazy too.
Just saying.
That is very crazy.
I don't think it is. Go back and look at Joe Blewett's tape. He was saying he loved Walker prior to the combine. He has timestamps. 100%, dude. I'm telling you.
So you now, if we were on the clock, you would pick Walker.
Well, you got to know who goes 1, 2, 3. You're saying KT and Walker are both on the board, and we're saying Hutchinson, Hamilton, 𝐒𝐿 are gone, or whatever. Yeah, look, based on what Thibodeau and his personality traits that I've kind of watched, yeah, I would take Walker, I would take Johnson, I would take Karlaftis. I would take all 3 of them over Thibodeau. I really would.
Okay.
See, dude, I'm telling you, I don't think Thibodeau is the generational prospect he believes himself to be. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I'm going to get a lot of people upset with me, and then it's going to happen on the draft day, and I'm going to be like, son of a... I'm going to lose my mind. I don't know. We'll see. Shivanshu drops in with a super chat. He says, Ali's eyes and smile when he picked Hamilton. Those were McCagnon's eyes. Mixed with Rex Ryan's the Giants get O-line, D-line, screw them. Look, I think the Giants are going to go O-line, D-line. I think that's like as big of a lock as it could possibly be. Who they take, I don't know. I do think they want 𝐒𝐿, and I think there's a non-0% chance they trade up in front of the Jets to get 𝐒𝐿. I think they trade up with the Texans. The Texans drop back because I don't think the Jets are taking Hamilton at 4, and I think the Texans know they're going to be able to get him at 5. I don't know. Just my thoughts. Ali, would you like to respond to Green Bean? What was Shiv's name over on your channel? It was Lima Bean?
Lima Bean. Yeah, Lima Bean. There he is.
Lima Bean. We're going to call Shivanshu Lima Bean because his name is really hard for me to say while I'm drinking beer. Ali, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think people are taking it too seriously. That's not my actual pick. I just did a general pick just for the heck of it and on the spot thinking. That's not my pick, but it's more of just seeing how the draft, like the rest of the draft played out. But like it's still a possibility. That pick is still a possibility for the Jets to take at 4. I feel like the Jets were rumored around him for so long that it's just not going to die down like that, like automatically. And that's like the first guy that everyone had for us. So that's why I just said it. But that got me laughing about McCagnon. But
I love it. Funny. Frank, sorry, I just saw this. I wanted to touch base on this. He says, hey guys, I know you do plenty of mocks, and I know you guys know other podcasters for other teams. Would you guys consider doing a mock draft with those guys picking other teams? I love to see that. So I've actually reached out to UCF Jaguar, to Let's Talk Lions, to Asman for the Texans pick, And then I reached out to Chris the Entertainer, who I normally do stuff with, but he didn't respond back to me, so I'm feeling a little jaded right now. So I don't have a Giants YouTuber, but I'm trying to get the top 10 picks. And I actually don't know a Falcons YouTuber. I went through this last year too when I was trying to do the same thing, and I like could not find a Falcons YouTuber. So if you guys know someone, let me know. I'm all about it. I want to do it. 100% there. I basically want to do a 1 minute for each selection, and then we get an idea of which fan base and what these players want. What I've done with my mock drafts in the past, and I've been pretty open about this, I go to the largest fan forum of each team, and I go into their off-season threads and things of that nature, and you talk about, okay, who do the Jaguars want? Oh, well, they're talking edge rusher. Oh, they're talking offensive line. And I go to see, okay, which one do these guys want? And then I move to the next one. And if I see, okay, the offensive lineman went first, I know the Lions, maybe they wanted an offensive lineman. Well, guess what? Now they got to get their second pick. And that's kind of how I go through it. So worst case scenario, if I don't get the other YouTubers, I will get, I'll do my own recon. And that's where it's going to wind up, where it winds up going. Wow, we are at the end of our show. I didn't even realize that. Holy smokes, 10 o'clock. Green Bean, can I have you go over to last week's show and give me 5 names that we can do? Let's see, we're at 289 likes. Let's get up over 300. I'm going to pick 2 more names. So drop a like on this video. We're going to pick a qualifier here. Let's see. Okay, so 1189 Paris dropped in with the super chat right now. Says, imagine the Jets pass on Thibodeau and he goes to the Giants, becomes the next Lawrence Taylor. I don't think Jet fans can live with that. Okay, valid point. You don't want your stadium roommate to draft the next generational prospect. I get it. Look, if I don't know. I'm done. I don't care. I hate everyone. I'm so over this right now. I want this draft to get here. Austin Berry dropped in with super chat, said, hold up, Ryan. I said trade down from 4. Ooh, Austin, trade down from 4 and pick Walker. It's not just the combine. Kid reminds me more of a more athletic Sean Ellis, old Jets defensive end. I don't see the comparison to Ellis at all, but I definitely, if we're trading down from 4, yeah, all day. Hey, let's trade back with, let's trade back with Seattle. We'll pick up DK, we'll get Walker, and then we'll draft, we'll trade down from 10. We'll just go crazy. I'm all about it. Does that change your thought, Matt, about Walker if we're trading down?
Nope. Not KT's there at 4.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Whatever. You guys are all jerks. All right. You got some, you got some names for me, Green Bean?
Yeah, let's go with PG Hudson Jr.
Okay.
Let's go with Jose Moya, Moya.
Okay.
Let's go with Richard Horton.
Okay.
Let's go with Mike Kaz, Jets all the time, in quotes.
And one more.
Taps any button.
I like it. We had a bunch of super chats from Taps Any Button tonight. All right. We're here to do a little bit of odds or even. So, guys, 3, 2, 1. 3, 5, 6, 7. All right, we're going odds first. Oh, no. Taps any button. Sorry. All right. 3, 2, 1. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Math is hard. All right. 3, 2, 1. 7, 8, 9. Odds. All right, we're down to 3 names. Chat, give us a number. 3, 2, 1. 7
He
plus.
said chat. Didn't he say chat?
I did. I said 7 plus whatever the chat gives us.
Oh,
Let's see.
okay. All right. I said it 1. All right.
7 plus 6, that's an odd number. Can't do math in my head right now. So our winner of the shirt is going to be Zachary Burner. Zachary Burner, you are our winner of today's shirt. Where is it? Right there. Bam! Reach out to me on Instagram or Gmail or something like that. Let me get your information. I'll send you out a shirt. Really looking forward to it. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with us, but it's time for us to be over. Let's go around the panel and give our closing thoughts. Matt, any last thoughts for our panel?
Agents next week. I am up. Big week of content coming, so can't wait.
Green Bean, any last words for our panel?
Yeah, good stuff. I'm happy to have Ali in the mix. Good chat tonight. I want to let everybody know that we released Dom C's newest article on greenbeanjetsfan.com. It is about on the running backs, and I want to remind everybody, Dom C was talking about Jelani Woods and Christian Watson before everybody. So months ago, he was telling us about these guys. So the world is catching up to Dom C. He's killing it. You can find those articles on my webpage, greenbeanjetsfan.com.
Ali, any last words for our panel?
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I've kind of been away from everything for about a month now. If you guys, a lot of people probably know, I was receiving death threats after my Senior Bowl, time at the Senior Bowl. Since then, I've been pretty much MIA because it started threatening my family, and it got really personal. So that's why I kind of went off the grid for a long time. Even coming on here was kind of like hard for me to do it. But I just wanted to get back in the groove of things. But yes, that was true, that people were saying stuff, and I had to come out and say why I was out, because this is a very busy time for us, and I had a lot of content to put out after the Senior Bowl because I was actually there. But after that, to receiving death threats, I was told by police and everything to stay away from social media for about a month now. So being back is finally awesome. I'm happy Ryan invited me on. And just was able to come back, just talk Jets again. I'm very rusty. I don't know much more than what you guys know because I kind of just went away from all that stuff for a while for football. So I'm getting back in the groove of things and getting back in the groove. So I really appreciate you guys having me on. And free agency is right around the corner, so it's going to be a fun time.
Guys, it's been a lot of fun, and I want you to know, Ali, if anyone threatens you, you got a bunch of Jet fans. We got 458 people that'll go out there and kick that dude's ass. So, dude, we got your back. Guys, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. My name's Ryan. This has been Talking Jets. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.